Father Barnabas Powell is pastor of Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene, Greek Orthodox Church of Cumming, Georgia, USA. Here's Father Barnabas with Sunday's homily.
Our current society is going through a particularly intoxicated time of delusion. What do I mean by that? For the past several years, we have been hearing the phrase identity politics. And some of you may have heard about folks who have identity crises, mental illnesses that lead them to an identity crisis. Well, I learned something this past week that I didn't know before. Maybe I'd been exposed to it, I didn't recall it. But it's called bodily integrity identity illness. And this is where people strongly believe, that they were born in the wrong body, in the sense that they are an able body, but they identify as a paraplegic, or they identify as someone who's blind, or they identify as someone who is somehow been incapacitated in some way. And they believe this so strongly about themselves that they actually ask doctors to remove healthy limbs so that they can live out what they believe to be true about themselves. A man by the name of Rod Dreyer was talking about this, and Rod said that self-recreation has now become the intoxication of our day. Now, I confess to you, in this politically charged time, and in this time of where we have exalted the concept of narrative above the idea that there is any kind of objective truth, I confess to you that much of the time I have spent my own reaction to situations like this dealing with anger. I'm angry about this. This is silly. This is and I'm angry. And guess what? That's completely the wrong way to react to this. It's completely wrong, and it's completely useless. I love what Jesus says in another place. He says, let me ask you something. How many of you by worrying can add an inch to your height? I'd be 7'4". You can't. Getting angry about this, is this going to solve anything? No, it's not. In fact, anger, ladies and gentlemen, is a confession of an absolute focus on myself and not on reality. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the power of delusion, to live a deluded life, is the temptation of each of us. To lie to ourselves about ourselves is a great temptation. And the only way to get out of it, my brothers and sisters, the only way to actually escape the matrix, and this is going to be difficult for you, the only way out, folks, is through compassion. Being angry at somebody who is struggling with their identity helps nobody. We must be compassionate. But be careful. Because compassion doesn't mean helping them stay deluded. That's not compassionate. In fact, helping people stay deluded is the ultimate cruelty. The ultimate violence against them. Amen. Who said kids don't listen to sermons? Especially when you got somebody as entertaining as me up here. It's cruelty to leave people in their spiritual illness, in their physical illness, in their emotional illness. It's cruel. True compassion offers a way out. True compassion offers healing and liberty and salvation. That's the reason why Jesus treats Zacchaeus the way he treats Zacchaeus this morning. Zacchaeus is not a popular guy in town. He's the chief tax collector. He's the IRS. And in those days, I don't know if you realize it, but the chief tax collector, you set your own income. If the government says, hey, you got to raise this much money out of these people, if you bump it up by 20 or 30%, everything that they pay over is yours. That's how you got paid. Needless to say, these guys weren't very popular. But Zacchaeus was a short guy, and I'm sure he's been made fun of a lot his whole life. He climbs up in a tree, and Jesus comes by and says, Zacchaeus, come down out of the tree. I got to be in your house. And everybody in the town says, you mean to tell me Jesus is going to be the guest of this sinner? Again, look, instead of being compassionate to one who is broken, they give him anger, or they give him jealousy, or they give him bitterness, or they give, in other words, nothing that helps, nothing that sets free, nothing that heals the situation. It just perpetuates the slavery of everybody there. Jesus goes to his house, a compassionate act. And what does that compassion draw from Zacchaeus? Lord, I give half of everything I own to the poor today. And if I've cheated anybody, I'll pay him back 4 times what I cheated him. The compassion of Jesus Christ offers salvation, my angels, not a perpetual delusion in unreality. The path of the faith, the path of the Orthodox faith, is meant to wake you up and have you deal with reality, not hide in the delusion of your fear or your anger or your bitterness or your self-centeredness. This morning, the faith offers you freedom from delusion. The faith offers you the ability to wake up and become the man or woman that God has called you to be. And the compassionate message to you this morning is, don't stay blind. Don't stay self-centered. Don't stay gripped by the delusion of this world that says, well, he who dies with the most toys wins, or I'm just going to spend my time pretending I'm something. But waking up to reality and living in reality is the compassionate and loving offer of the faith that is once for all delivered to the saints. That's the purpose of your orthodoxy, folks, to wake you up, to help you live in the reality of who God says you are, not who anybody else says you are, even yourself. Do you know yourself this morning? I mean, really, do you know yourself? Where are you deluded? Where are you living in the fantasy of I wish for or I'm afraid of? Would you like to wake up? You can. That's the compassionate offer of the faith. Amen.
You can follow Father Barnabas on YouTube or on our church website at stsrni.org. Thank you for watching.